Thanks for staying tuned to your station, the Africa Independent Television, and welcome to your program, Security Watch Africa. Only on this channel and on this program, we'll bring you that information you need to keep your life safe and secured. Welcome to this program today. Today, we are still looking at the issue of security in Nigeria and a way forward. I'll have a guest in the studio who will be joining me to digest a statement or a comment or a decision that was made during the week by the Nigeria's National Security Council. We will need to look at it because it's very, very important. But like I will always do, we'll bring you some reports. My name still remains Patrick Abambu. Today is just going to be looking at issues that affects your security and my security, which is very, very paramount. So sit back as we start first. Will the report still what happened in Imo State during the Nigerian Army Day celebration? There was a lecture series made to appraise how the Nigerian Army has been operating, carrying on with their operations and projecting to a way forward for better result. Sit back as we bring you this report put together by Ernest Enuneku.
The state of the nation's security and ways of ensuring better management of Nigeria's security was one of the main focus at the just concluded Nigerian Army Day celebration, NASCEL 2022, which took place in Owerri, Imo State, southeast region of Nigeria. As part of activities to mark this year's celebration, a lecture titled Curbing Security Challenges in Nigeria Through Integrated National Security Architecture, Imperative of War Creation and Collaboration among Security Agencies was delivered by Professor Osita Ogbo, a professor of economics. During his presentation, Professor Ogbo stated that Nigeria today is faced with what he termed organized crimes. He said almost every part of the country has one security challenge or the other.
How do you quantify the sit-at-home in the southeast every Monday ordered and enforced by unknown government? The perception of Nigeria as an unsafe investment destination worsens our current economic crisis and further creates the environment that fits insecurity. In all these insecurity types, with their emerging and dynamic dimensions, security intelligence gathering is at the heart of the solution. To allow non-state actors this level of free ride in terrorizing citizens is a failure of security intelligence. More specifically, it is pointing to a significant lack of cooperation and coordination among the many security agencies charged with keeping Nigerians and their properties safe. It's not enough to chase people after the fact. If 50 people have died, they have died. The idea of intelligence is to prevent events before they occur. And if they occur, certain people must take responsibility for that event.
He further said that the factor of leadership in the Nigerian armed forces and other stakeholders in the fight against insecurity in the country must be anchored on character, as this is key in ensuring that the right people are equipped for proper decision making.
The army has its own philosophy. The other agencies have their philosophy. But if you must collaborate, there must be a convergence in this philosophy. Leadership with character and the assignment of competent personnel into the right roles, devoid of politics, nepotism, and excessive adherence to federal character must be the ground norm. The standard operating procedure in this matter of life and death. Federal character can take a back seat when we are dealing with issues of life and death. In this emergency situation, we must assign our best to these roles. Let's deploy the best that we have, and they are there.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, commended the guest speaker for doing justice to the topic. He also harped on the need for agencies to show competence in their primary responsibilities, as these would further enhance collaborations.
One of the aspects that needs to be done is for each service and each agency to be competent and professional in its core function. Then it makes the jointness or the coordination much easier. Because if we are so professional in our own side, then we know that also there is skill and competence we have. There are no skill and competence others have that we need to harness together to do. And we in the army and in the military are aware about that.
The lecture also had various discussants who gave their contributions.
Our leaders need to interact more. I think in the issue of interagency cooperation, it's not even among the top echelon of the services. It's down the line. So it must be regulated down the line through exemplary leadership. And that's what the guest lecturer talked about, the character.
The military dominance of the service environment and the attitude of domination and seeing every person as a bloody civilian, including security agencies, has led to this complex problem that we have.
Is actually the best way to deal with the issue of collaboration and cooperation is for each security agencies to aspire to work to optimal of its professionalism. For the military, it's about military professionalism. If you do that, if you achieve that, it will open up areas where resource intervention will be needed. It will open up areas for training. It will open up sensitivities about working with others. In fact, the doctrines and everything already alluded. The foundation is here, but it's about dealing with individual, what I call the person in charge syndrome.
Ernest Enuneku, Security Watch Africa, Owerri, Imo State.
Thanks for staying tuned. Yes, that was a report on NACEL 2022 lecture. It was quite elucidating. I was there, Security Watch Africa, we were there, and discussions were quite frankly, and the Nigerian Army leadership had promised to implement the outcome of that lecture. That is kudos to the Chief of Army Staff, who himself is a historian looking at the history of war and how to prevent it. Yes, let's go to another event again, a side event that took place during the NACEL 2022 grand finale, which is the COAS Commendation Awards, where distinguished officers and soldiers were honored for what they have done in the fight against insurgency, terrorism, and banditry. Sit back as we bring you this report put together by Shuli Daniels.
Commendation and awards are factors of motivation in any organization for improved efficiency and effective performance. Since his assumption of office, the 22nd Chief of Army Staff of the Nigerian Army, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, has continued to motivate officers and soldiers of the Nigerian Army through constant commendation of those who distinguish themselves in the discharge of their duties. With the regular Chief of Army Staff COAS Commendation and Awards, many personnel have redoubled their efforts to ensure that Nigeria is safe again. On the sideline of the recently concluded Nigerian Army Day celebration, NACEL 2022, 17 officers and soldiers who displayed excellent character of bravery, courage, integrity, and professionalism received the COAS Commendation Awards.
As for today, which marks the climax of the event, we will be witnessing the presentation of Commendation Award to some deserving personnel, a research and development exhibition, as well as a march past by troops of various divisions of the Nigerian Army. All these achievements and operational successes were only made possible by the immeasurable support, guidance, and encouragement we continue to get from the President Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammad Buhari, GCFR.
The presentation was done by the special guest of honor, President Muhammadu Buhari, represented by the Minister of Defense, Major General Bashir Salihi Magashi, retired.
Goes to Major General C.O. Fortune. Next is to Major General A.A. Adeyinka. The next is Major General B.A. Alabi.
The award winners are Major General M.G. Ali, Major General C. Ofoche, Major General A.A. Adeyinka, Major General B.A. Alabi, Major General J.H. Abdusalam, Major General S.T. Shafaru, Brigadier General B.I. Alaya, Colonel S.A. Mohammed, Colonel S.S. Mohammed, Lieutenant Colonel I. Ahmed, Lieutenant Colonel G.T. Adedokun, Master Warrant Officer Ibrahim Yakubu, Warrant Officer Babagana Kaburam, Sergeant Ali Mohammed, Last Corporal Olaniru Steven, Last Corporal Sani Bashiru, and Last Corporal Moses Azanku. Shirley Daniels, reporting for Security Watch Africa, Abuja.
Welcome back. Yes, congratulations to the award winners. Well deserved. And I must say, these are people that we have met in where they are carrying out their responsibilities and quite powerful. The Major General M.G. Ali, particularly, spearheaded the Special Forces, and these are the elite force that is helping to clean up all these bandits and insurgency. Then Major General C. Ofoche is research and development, is doing so well in transformation of the new pattern of the armor that we have in the country. Yes, let us now come to the studio where we'll be talking with the guest today. He's always one of us, and quite giving resourceful information on what is important, talking about Chimezie Anyadike. He is a public affairs analyst. A pleasure to have you in the studio.
Thank you very much.
All right, quickly, let's just go to what is, a lot of people were worried. Some say yes, it's good. Some say no, I think he's using a sledgehammer against a mosquito. When the National Security Council met, reviewing the security situation in the country, one of the talking point that came out particularly was the idea of general banning or national banning of Okada, commercial motorcycle riding in Nigeria. First, let me ask find out from you, what would be your take to that?
With all due respect, I think it's a lazy man's approach to a problem that has very simple solutions. You cannot deny millions of Nigerians their livelihood just because you don't want to sit down and think out a rational approach to solving a problem that I believe has a simple solution. So to me, I think it doesn't even make sense to me. And I will agree with Nigerians that have said no to it. It does not make sense. I believe that if the government should go ahead to implement it, it's going to be a major stain on the legacies of the current administration. So I don't think it's something they should even consider. And if they've considered it, I think it's something they should just shelve and throw it away, because it doesn't...
Yeah, because I know that the propriety of it, whether it should be or whether to give the result, is one thing. But another is, does the federal government have such powers?
I think as executives, you can demonstrate some form of wide-reaching powers. But it will still, because you are still an arm of government.
Yeah, but I know that because transportation is not in exclusive list. Yes. It's left to the states and the local level of governance. So can you decide to just...
Well, that's why I said that to me, I believe it was not a properly detailed solution by the National Security Council. They just wanted to see, okay, let's see how we can just end this thing once and for all.
Okay. So, the reality is that I know that the bandits, they operate majorly with motorbikes. That is the number one. In fact, that is the sole means of movement. Yes. They could go with almost 200 in an operation and all that. Yes, so that could work in some of those areas where you know that the banditry is of trouble. I also know that some states have actually banned the use of this Okada. But how do you marry both ends?
Okay, I believe the reason why the bandits use motorcycles is ease of movement, and then looking at the terrain. Once you get on your bikes, you don't have to, how do I put it? You don't have to worry about the cumbersomeness of using maybe trucks or vehicles that might find it difficult climbing some of the, moving in some of the very treacherous terrains. They prefer to use bikes for ease of mobility. Anything happens, we just take off as quickly as possible, or just dump the bike and maybe take off and disappear in the forest and everything. So I believe that's why they do that. It's ease of movement and all that. But I still remember that some 6 years ago, that when the insurgents in the Northeast were deploying some of these, how do I put it, vehicles like motorcycles, and we are gaining, sustaining successful ambushes against the Nigerian army. I remember what the former chief of army staff did, that's Lieutenant General.
Buratai.
Yes, Buratai. He quickly initiated a motorcycle brigade,
yes.
or battalion, I don't know,
Yes.
but I know it was a special
it was a motorcycle battalion,
and it was very successful. Because the moment you show up, the soldiers are ready. They go after you, no matter wherever you want to go to, they will follow you. And they were sustaining successes every day, every week. You hear they've neutralized over 60-something insurgents. They've neutralized over, and I think that's what made the insurgents just stop using motorcycles and everything. So these are solutions that could be thought up. Equip the police, equip the civil defense, equip the military that have been assigned to such places to be able to quickly deploy, so that no matter where these guys are going, we're after you guys. And also, I remember when they test ran one particular invention like that, where they had a motorcycle mounted JPMG.
Yeah.
These things are things that you can quickly deploy. It doesn't really cost operational, it doesn't really cost you so much operationally. Just deploy them and test the level of success. As against, boom, everybody just stop. Nobody should use motorbikes again. I mean, if the people you deny the means of livelihood now rise up in protest, what are you going to do?
Yeah, but in some states, let's say I know that Lagos State, for instance, when the use of motorbikes were banned in most of the local governments, that has helped to checkmate robbery and all these traffic robberies. And looking at it, I think it has proven to be efficient. And I think they're thinking of having a statewide ban. I know that in some states, in Rivers State, for instance, they are banned. In Imo State, they are banned. In most of these states, and you can see visible results in there. If that is what the National Security Council is thinking about, shouldn't they maybe relate with the state governments and work out ways that can be done in that level?
Yeah, I believe that bureaucratically, that should even be what they are supposed to do, because the tiers of government should be involved in such a policy. But I still believe that the two cases are not really similar. I remember when back then in Imo State, when Okada was banned in the state capital, and especially some of the suburbs and everything. I remember that it was just to curtail snatch and grab, all those roadside robberies and everything, and it was successful. Now you're looking at a large-scale operation like combating bandits. I don't think it would, I don't think some state governments would want to go along with it, especially if they have not had problems like that, and if they have, managed to initiate some of these policies that have gone a long way in reducing the instances of motorcycle-based robbery, because nobody uses motorcycle to organize kidnapping. So it's especially robbery, just snatch and run, grab and run, and everything. Some have happened right in front of me, and by the time you realize it, they've disappeared. So that is what I believe they should. They should sit down with the states and craft peculiar solutions to the uniqueness of the problems of the states, as against a nationwide ban. I believe people will rise up in protest if that is done.
All right. Now, some people had said this could be a decision taken out of desperation of looking for a solution for this. I know, for instance, that there has been some milestone recorded against these bandits and insurgents. A lot has been done. But should the government have panicked, or the council panicked to come out with such thing, or they should have been able to come out with a pragmatic or looking for a way to seek support from the citizens now?
Yes, I believe so. I believe, but I don't want to say they panicked. I want to believe that, for the lack of in-depth thinking and research on how to adequately, handle or combat the situation, I'm not sure it is panic per se, and I'm not sure they're even really considering, implementing it. It's just, okay, let's see if we do this, we'll be able to register a lot of success. One thing I believe is that if they sit down and think, there would be more pragmatic solutions to this, especially with regards to community policing. They're not paying attention to the fact that you don't need to make it clear that you have eyes within the communities, especially when it comes to surveillance. You don't need to make it public. Just get one or two people, train them, and then let them be your informants in communities. It won't cost so much. Or you look for a way to adequately train some members on how to both carry out surveillance and then also request for help whenever they get intelligence that, see, something like this is happening. You don't need to flag or use an elephant to stomp on a mouse. It doesn't make sense.
Now, finally, there was a melodrama, so to say, that about the previous week in Zamfara State, where a known and a wanted bandit commander leader was turbaned by one of the emirs in what we're talking about, this community.
That is it.
People not helping to fight, and the governor had to come out and took a step by suspending that emir. Why is it that some traditional rulers are not helping to fight this insecurity we're talking about?
Let me come to the east, which is my catchment area. Known kidnappers in the east are given chieftaincy titles.
Yeah,
so it's not like it's very unique but it's appalling. And I think, I don't know if the security agencies have swung into action on it, but I think what should be done is, since he's a popular person, just get him arrested and use him as a source of information. And because all these criminals operate in cells, so you can use him to get the rest or the members of the different cells that he has in his network. And for the emir that turbaned him, well, like I said, we've had Ezes in the southeast that gave known kidnappers, well-known kidnappers, chieftaincy titles. So I think it's a matter of, for me, left me, if I'm a state governor, I would not just suspend, I would derobe you and get you arrested, because as far as I'm concerned, you are an accessory to a crime, to crimes. You know that this is what this person is. Instead of you to have alerted security agencies, you went ahead to glorify him and encourage him.
Making him a role model. Other people think this is the way to go.
Exactly. So that's the thing. It's not really unique to the north. It's also something that keeps happening even in the west, in the east, in the south, all over.
It's sad.
Very sad. Very sad.
Really, but that is the reality of what we have. Really, the need for everybody, all Nigerians and all Africans, to put hands together and fight insecurity is very, very important. Just like he said, why should you glorify known criminals or suspects and making them look as if they are heroes and creating more criminals in that regard? We must leave for other programs to continue. I must thank you again for your time, sparing your precious time to join us and sharing your thoughts with us. Until we come away again next week, I say thanks for staying tuned and bye for now.